You will make it through. The Fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The Fitra is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
And by the way, for those of you who do not have the red book, I did put a picture of it up here for tonight so y'all can see what it looks like. Yeah, I did. I want to make sure I got the right picture up because I couldn't remember which one I used. I do so many PowerPoints each day. Yeah, there it is. Okay, this is the red book. It looks just like the blue one, the volume, the first one, but it's red. Yeah, most of you have it because I taught this class last year. So most of my students have it. The second go around, every time I teach these classes, you'll learn something new. Okay, this is the red book, Diluting Al-Wala, wal-Bara, the Unveiled Trilogy. Okay, and we'll be covering, I skipped over the introduction. The introduction just brings you up to date, just summarizes what was taught in the book that we're finishing up today. I didn't go over that because we are going from one book to the other, so everything should be fresh on your mind. We'll be beginning with chapter 1, which begins on page 28. We'll be covering pages 28 through 32, which speaks about the Fitra. We don't have to go over the introduction, which brings you up to date by summarizing what was discussed in the first volume. And this is Awakening Faith in a Non-Faith Centered World. So this is how the book looks. And there's a picture of Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Most of you have the book already because you were here when I covered it last year. For my new shahadas, because I got 200. So that means 50, right, Sister Amatullah? I have 50 new shahadas. For the 50 new shahadas who were not with me last year, that's how the book looks. Okay? Yes, take a screenshot of it. For those of you who are following me on this Vigo program, make sure that you guys open up a tab on your cell phone to YouTube so you can see the PowerPoint in the background instead of looking at me. Open up a tab on YouTube, go to my channel SunnahFollowers. Click on the live stream so you can see me live there. Instead of just looking at my face, you will see my PowerPoint behind me. And that's you can take a screenshot of the PowerPoints. And that's the book that you need to purchase off of Amazon. It's red and black. That's the book. The book is $29.95. It's over 600 pages. Very well worth the price. Yes, it's going to take us a year to go through this book. Yes, so. And we'll begin with chapter 1 today, which is pages 28. We're going to cover 28 through 32. Okay, but before we get to chapter 1 of the book, you see that? Yeah. I'm going to give you a brief quiz to cover what we discussed the day before yesterday about the violations of Al-Bara, how we fail to implement Al-Bara. This is a brief quiz. Okay. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Sakina. Right on time for the quiz. Question number 1. True or false? It is forbidden. Let me move this out the way. It is forbidden for Muslims to live in non-Muslims' lands. Is it true? Is it false? Or only if there is a reason? Which answer is correct? It is forbidden for Muslims to live in non-Muslim lands. We talked about this the day before yesterday. Or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. I'm sorry, guys. It was yesterday I had this class. I'm all mixed up. Tell you, I do so many classes, I can't keep track. In fact, I just put the video up. Yes. True, false, or only if there's a reason. It is forbidden for Muslims to live in non-Muslim land. True, false, or only if there's a reason. What do you guys in Zoom think? My students in Zoom, what do you think? They got
false.
Huh?
I say false. You can live here.
Everybody agree? Okay, people on YouTube said false.
I agree.
Sakina said only if there's a reason. Fatima said only if there's a reason. What about the people on Bigo? Most of the people on Bigo live in Muslim countries. What do y'all think in Bigo? Okay, Omar said false. Okay, for the people that said only if there's a reason. Okay, Sister Sakina. So are you going, you live in America. America's not a Muslim country. So what are you doing here? What's your reason for living in America, Sister Sakina? Sister Fatima, do you live in America? Where do you live, Fatima? Brother Adam, what's your answer? Sister Fatima, do you live in a Muslim country? If not, are you going to hell? Why are you not in a Muslim country? What's your reason? Everybody who said that you can only live in a non-Muslim country if there's a reason, tell me what your reason is for living where you live. What's your reason for being here in America? You better have a good one or you gonna burn, baby, burn. Disco fever. No, only if you have a reason means you got to have a reason. A real reason. Okay, Fatima says she caught her mistake. Okay. Yeah, when y'all think like that, you catch your mistakes. That's why I make y'all think out loud. Sometimes when you think, you can catch your mistake. Good job, Fatima. Fatima caught the mistake. The answer is false. This is not true. You got confused about something. Yeah, you got confused with another question I'm getting ready to ask a little later, Fatima. Yeah, I'm getting ready to ask a different question that's similar to this. Yeah, you caught the mistake too, S. Yeah, y'all caught the mistake. I'm going to tell y'all something. I used to be a substitute teacher. And before we would give quizzes to the students, whenever they had to take a final exam, one of the things we used to tell the kids, if you're unsure about an answer, read the question out loud and read your answer out loud. Because sometimes if you read it out loud with your answer, and it'll make you think, and you can catch your mistake, because your brain is that frontal lobe that Dr. McBride is always talking about. The frontal lobe of the brain will catch the mistake. You'll say, wow, that don't sound right. And you will end up being able to catch your mistake before you circle the box. That's a tip I used to give when I was a substitute teacher to my high school students when they would take their English test. I used to be a substitute teacher for English and history. because that's what my degree was. I went to school and got 2 degrees, one in history and one in communications, English. And I used to tell them, read this, especially in the English classes, read it out loud. Does it sound right? I used to tell them the sound, the way it sounds, you can catch it, catch your mistake. Yeah, so you caught it. Y'all caught it. Yeah, you could catch it and correct it. Wait a minute, hold on, let me fix this in the Zoom room too. Yeah, that Zoom thing does that. Let me turn it off. Yeah, there, I got it. I fixed it so it doesn't lag like that. Yeah, wait a minute, hold on, let me, yeah, okay, cut that off and go back to, yeah, Zoom does that when they change their thing. Yeah, so that's a different question y'all thinking about. This is false. Okay, it's not, there's nothing in Islam that says it's haram to live in a non-Muslim country. You can live in a non-Muslim country as long as you're able to practice your religion openly. You know, as long as you're able to practice Islam. Okay? Now, if that non-Muslim country won't allow you to practice Islam, then that's different. Remember, the companions, they migrated. They lived in Abyssinia. Abyssinia was not a Muslim country in the beginning. Neither was Medina, to be honest. But they were allowed to practice their religion. Okay? So you can live anywhere. Allah says in the Quran, you can live anywhere on this earth as long as you are able to practice this religion openly. So there's nothing that forbids you from living in a non-Muslim country as long as you can practice this religion. You don't have to have a reason as long as you can practice it, okay? But keep that answer in mind for another question I'm going to ask you about. Okay, let's look at the next question. Next question. It is forbidden for us to travel to non-Muslim lands for vacation or fun. Is that answer true or false? It is forbidden or haram to travel to a non-Muslim country just to have fun or go on vacation. Is this answer true or false?
True. True.
What do you guys think about this answer? People on Facebook, people on YouTube, people on Vigo. Is it haram for me to travel to a non-Muslim country just, you know, for fun or to go on vacation? Exactly. This is true. This is true. And this is what a lot of Muslims are not aware of. This is the question that a lot of Muslims would get wrong. Can I go to the Bahamas just to go on vacation? No. Can I travel to Ecuador just to have fun? No. Can I go to Puerto Rico just to be on vacation? No. Can I travel to America just to go sightseeing? No. Can I travel to the UK just to have fun and go sightseeing, to go sightseeing and look at the castles? No. Can I travel to Australia just to have fun and sightsee? No, this is haram. Why? Who can tell us why? Why does Islam forbid Muslims to travel to non-Muslim lands just to sightsee or tour or have fun? Why is it we can't do that? Anyone? Why? It's a lot of reasons why, but what's the main big reason?
Because you would start taking that you see them. You start intoxicating, like not intoxication, but it would start like say for instance, naked women and the way they dress and different things like that.
Okay, because it's exposing you. You're being exposed to a lifestyle, a culture, or habits that totally contradict our lifestyle, our habits. It'll cause you to maybe pick up identity or traditions or cultures that contradict Islam. Remember, that's what Al-Wala wal-Bara is about. We distance ourselves from anything that contradicts Islam, our lifestyle, our Islamic morals. We distance ourselves from sex. We distance ourselves from drugs. We distance ourselves from nakedness. Women walking around naked, men walking around naked. We distance ourselves from immorality. We distance ourselves from anything that contradicts Islam. And also common sense. This is a war going on today. Who would be that stupid? You're a Muslim, and it's dangerous. So now, if there's a reason to travel to a non-Muslim land, can I go then? Yes or no?
Yes.
If there's a reason to travel, can I go then? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And what are the reasons? What are the reasons that a Muslim can travel to a non-Muslim land? And there are only certain reasons. What are the reasons that a Muslim, there's only four. There's only four reasons that a Muslim can travel. And by the way, these hadiths are all in Sahih Bukhari. Where's my Dalil? Brother Abu Bakr, Laila Nasheeba. Let me tell you something about me. I'm the wrong person to ever ask for Dalil, because I will shoot it to you. Where's the Dalil for everything that we saying here? The source of all the Dalil for this is Sahih Bukhari, and also the Quran itself. If you have to ask me for the hadith, that means you ain't qualified to ask me. And if you have to ask me for the verse, you ain't qualified either. But you will find the source for all of this in the Quran and Sahih al-Bukhari. The Prophet Muhammad he sent ambassadors out to the non-Muslim lands only for four reasons. What are those four reasons? And this is all in Sahih Bukhari. And my students learned it because they know the hadiths. Give me the answers. What are the four reasons, sisters? We went over it yesterday in class. What are the four reasons? The only four reasons that you can travel to the non-Muslim lands. Who can name them? Let's hear them.
Medical reason.
Wait, say it loud so the new brother can hear them, because the brother don't know. Write them down. For those of you who don't have the book, by the way, it's all in the book too. Write it down. Say the first one.
Medical treatment.
Number one, the only reason you can travel to the non-Muslim lands, and this is the reasons they do it, and by the way, the Muslims still honor this. I meant to talk about this yesterday too. For the Muslims that do live in Muslim lands, they do honor this still. Like the sisters here on this program, the sister here named Zia, she lives in Malaysia. Malaysia is a Muslim country. And like she would say here, she never travels outside of Malaysia unless it's for one of these reasons. Also, my family, who lives in the United Arab Emirates, they never leave the United Arab Emirates unless it's for these reasons. You know, the Muslims family that I have in Egypt and friends in Egypt honor this. Also, the Saudis do. So there's Muslims that do live in the Muslim lands that still honor this Sunnah. They still honor these laws of Allah. So don't get it twisted. I know that there's a lot of, because of the war that's happening in the world today and the hatred that a lot of these brothers have, because they cannot accept the reality that Allah is in charge of this war, that there is no power and there is no might other than Allah, and that if all the creation were to come together, this is for men and women, Brother Ahmad. The Prophet Muhammad didn't send no women as ambassadors. Name one female ambassador that the Prophet Muhammad sent. Okay? He didn't send women as ambassadors. That's why y'all better learn these hadiths. And these hadiths are Sahih Bukhari. Come to my classes every day. All right? And I know there's a lot of hatred, you know, because these brothers don't understand that if all the creation were to come together to stop the war, they wouldn't be able to. So they curse the governments of Saudi. They curse the governments of the Emirates. They curse the government of Malaysia. They curse all the Muslim countries in Africa. They curse all the Muslim countries on earth, like they have the power to stop the war. Don't nobody have the power to stop the war, just like nobody had the power to start it but Allah. War comes from Allah. This is the war against Islam that Allah sent, and it ain't stopping, and it didn't begin with Gaza. This war began years ago during the Bush regime. It just spread it to Gaza, and it spread it past Gaza now. It's been in Africa. It's all over, and it's going to get here to America too. It's going to get to the UK too, like the prophet said. Okay? These governments can't do nothing to stop it. Allah's in control. They're being threatened too. Okay? And then they're calling these Islamic governments kafir. You don't call nobody a kafir. They have no power, no control. They're doing what they can do. Oh, there is no power. There is no might other than Allah. They know that they're next. Their countries are next, and they know it. Okay? But to call them kafir, believe it or not, in these countries, there still are people who honor and practice Islam. Like this sister Dia says, she never leaves Malaysia unless it's for these 4 reasons. You got people that live in Muslim countries. They never leave those Muslim countries unless it's for these 4 reasons. They understand the laws of Islam and they adhere to it. So this is why we don't go around making takfir against other Muslim countries and nations and calling people kafir, because we don't understand Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, that Allah is in control. And that's why I'm glad we now are beginning the 2nd volume of Diluting Al-Wala wal-Bara, because we're going to talk about Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, how the lordship, Allah is the lordship. Okay, He's in control. Okay, so what are the only 4 reasons that a Muslim can travel to a non-Muslim country? This is male and female. The Prophet didn't send no female ambassadors nowhere. One is what? Medical reasons, as she said, to seek medical treatment. What's the another reason? Trade or business. The Muslims would travel to the non-Muslim countries for trade or business ventures. What's the third?
Education, if you can't get it where you are.
Yes, educational reasons. If the education is not provided by that Muslim country. And what's the last reason?
If you're going to be an ambassador to spread Islam.
If you are a person of the dawah, if you are a bona fide, qualified Islamic scholar, Islamic educator sent by the government to call the people to Islam, those are the only reasons you can go to a non-Muslim country. You're going to, like the Prophet sent Mu'adh. Mu'adh was the first ambassador to call the non-Muslims, to invite them to Islam, to teach them Tawheed, not to talk about Gaza, not to talk about politics. No, we don't travel to non-Muslim countries to talk politics, to invite, to call the people to Tawheed, to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Or you are a merchant to buy and sell items, to trade goods and bring back to the country. Or you got cancer, or you need medical treatment. Your family, like they doing with the kids in Gaza, you need medical treatment. Like the sister here said, you need medical treatment. You have to leave Malaysia to go get medical treatment. So you go to the United Kingdom for medical treatment. Then you come back home. You go to America for medical treatment. You come back home. Or you are an Islamic scholar. You're going to talk about Tawheed. That's it. It ain't sightseeing. It ain't no getting Stella getting her groove on. It ain't none of that other stuff. That's the only reason. Most of you Muslims ain't doing that. Y'all don't even know that. And that's the basics of Islam. All right. So what are you women doing? Now my question goes to you knucklehead women. You knucklehead Muslim women who are to call yourself feminists, trying to be like the Kafir women. First of all, you women ain't got no business traveling anywhere because you ain't got no mahram, period. I don't know where you women get off traveling in a group. That definitely ain't Islam. The Prophet didn't say that you women can travel in a group. Show me the hadith. Show me the verse from the Quran where Allah said that you knucklehead women can gallop around the earth in a group with life coaches as your guardian. I know y'all into the LGBTQ movement. I know we into that now. Your life coach is your LGBTQ guardian. Where does Allah say that? I know you women trying to be men because your life coach has a green belt in Taekwondo. Oh yeah, she's LGBTQ, I guess. So you traveling to the Bahamas in a group of women and your life coach has a green belt in Taekwondo. Where does Allah say that's lawful? Where did the Prophet Muhammad say that's lawful? Where do you knucklehead women get off? I don't want to get it. You sisters got some serious mental issues. And then y'all say y'all getting y'all groove on. You're doing like Stella. And that's why you end up with the same problems that Stella had. Stella got her groove off. And look what happened to Stella. You women have to learn your religion. You women have to learn the lawful and the unlawful. You brothers need to learn your religion too. You brothers have to learn that it ain't that much different between women and men. Just like them women ain't supposed to be traveling around the world to get their groove on, you men ain't supposed to either, unless it's for those 4 reasons. And y'all wonder why Allah has brought war on us all. They ain't gonna ask me to show the Dalil. No, you better go find the Dalil. Go learn the Dalil, brothers. And start with La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Start with that Shahada and the meaning of it. And Al-Wala, wal-Bara, the testimony of faith. Okay? All right, next question. Let's see if y'all can get this one. Good job, my students. All right. Forbidden imitation. We talked about that too as part of this is all part of that Shahada. We spoke about forbidden imitation of non-Muslims. We talked about how it falls in categories. We went over that in the book yesterday too. This is the blue book. We're getting ready to go into the red book today, written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Make sure y'all get on Amazon and buy those books. Forbidden imitation of non-Muslims falls in which of these categories? Does it fall in the category of religious practices? Yes or no?
Yes.
Give me an example of imitation of non-Muslims regarding religious practice. Give me an example of imitating the non-Muslims in religious practice.
So basically, like giving an imitation of
in religious practice. Give me an example, Sister S. Give me an example, Zarina. Zarina's on Bigo. Sister S on YouTube. Give me an example.
So basically, like celebrating their holidays, like the different things that they do. That's religious. Yeah, that's religious. Yeah.
Good job. Celebrating Christmas. Good job.
Yeah,
Christmas.
Like Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. Yeah. What about this, guys? If I wear a cross on my neck, if I wear a cross, is that imitation too?
Yes, it is.
Yep, but that's a question that one of the people is asking me on this other platform here on X. If I wear a cross, yeah, you shouldn't wear a cross. That's shirt too. The person on X, I just saw, I very seldom see a person on X. Somebody on, what's X? Oh, that's Twitter. Oh, I forgot Twitter is X. Like, what's X? Yeah, Twitter. It's haram. You shouldn't wear crosses at all. That's shirt. Yeah, shirt. That's shirt. Yeah, putting up a Christmas tree. Exactly. We don't put up Christmas trees. That's another good example.
Oh, celebrating birthdays.
Celebrating birthdays. That falls in this one. What about this? Culture and tradition. Culture and tradition. Birthdays falls under culture. Birthdays, is that part of Islamic culture? We don't celebrate birthdays. No. Culture, that's culture. And you know what? I see that they put out some fatwa. Can y'all believe that these Muslims have put out a fatwa saying it's okay to celebrate birthdays? I tell y'all better be careful of these fatwas. Just because a Muslim got a degree in Islam, who is he? I mean, the Prophet, that's an act of worship. Celebrating birthday, that's an act of worship because I was born. You're going to celebrate me? That's Webster's dictionary. Webster's dictionary will tell you that that's worship. How can you make a fatwa saying it's okay to celebrate a birthday? Are you crazy? That's worship. We don't worship anyone except Allah. You're going to put out a fatwa saying it's okay to celebrate a birthday because I was born. You bring me presents. You bake me a cake. You give me money. You worship my birth. Before the prophet died, what's the last thing he said? He said, do not do to me what they did to my brother Jesus. That's one of the last things the prophet said before he died. And you got some of these brothers putting out Islamic fatwas telling you it's okay to do a birthday when the prophet said, don't do that. Do not celebrate my birth, my death. The prophet said, do not eulogize me. Do y'all know what eulogize mean? That's the problem. Some of these brothers speak Arabic and they don't know what them words mean. You know, eulogize, that's to celebrate someone, to make someone out to be more than what they are. That's birthdays. You live in the West too long. You pick up Western cultural behavior and actions that contradict Islam. And then you say it's okay to make your children happy and to make your non-Muslim wife or your convert. That's what happens. They marry these converts. These brothers, they come to America, coming to America, and they marry these little lily converts who come from Christian families. And well, my mother, you know, their wives, that pillow talk. Pillow talk is a great thing that women can do, especially the lily ones. They pillow talk these Arabic brothers and convince them that it's just, you know, a tradition. It's no biggie. And, you know, what's wrong with me celebrating my grandmother's birthday and my mom's birthday? These brothers that issue those fatwas, look who they married to. They married to the lily converts who convinced them that it's okay to do a birthday. That's haram. That's worship, bro. Look it up in a dictionary. Culture, traditions. That ain't part of our tradition or our culture. You an Arab. That ain't part of your Arabian tradition to celebrate the birth or of a person. Are you crazy? What about this? Is this imitation? Profession and skills. Going to school to be a nurse or a doctor. Going to school to be an architect, an engineer. Is that imitating a non-Muslim? Becoming a writer, becoming a painter, becoming an electrician. Is that imitating a non-Muslim?
No, it's not. No.
No, it's not. That's just some profession or skill. That is not. And besides that, that's not unique to non-Muslims anyway. That's something that's not unique to a non-Muslim anyway. Okay? So, but you can see when it comes to religion, when it comes to culture, when it comes to tradition, that type of stuff we distance ourselves from, because that type of thing can destroy our identity. That type of thing can stand in the way between our allegiance to Allah, his book, you know, his prophets, you know, to each other and all of that. So that's what all that Al-Wala, wal-Bara is all about. It's not about so much love and hate. It's about showing and having allegiance to Allah, allegiance to his prophet, allegiance to this religion, to the Quran, to each other, to our lifestyle and our way of life, not anybody else's lifestyle, not anybody else's way of life. We have to work on that as Muslims and be proud of our lifestyle, be proud of our identity. And so now we're going to get into the whole topic, the whole focus of the second volume of Diluting Al-Wala wal-Bara, which many Muslims don't understand, just like they don't understand allegiance and disassociation. If I were to ask the average Muslim what is meant by the Fitra, I would get every answer except the right answer. When the Prophet said every one of us is born upon the Fitra, I get every answer but the right answer, where we're going to speak about the Fitra. The Fitra. Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, and remember, and by the way, for the new Shahadas, Brother Abu Bakr, remember, this is the book we're using. It's written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid, and everything in this book is taken from out of the Quran. You want to know the dalil, that's why you have to buy the book. The dalil in this book, everything is taken from the Quran and the authentic hadiths. Every hadith in this book is sahih, authentic, and we give the sources. Okay, this is from the Quran. Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning, and remember when your Lord brought forth from the children of Adam, from their loins, their seed, and made them testify to themselves, saying, am I not your Lord? And they said, yes. What does this verse mean? The Prophet Muhammad said, you will never understand the Quran until you learn the hadith. The hadith are the things the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and the things he did. The hadiths are the explanation of the Quran. Whenever Allah sent a verse down from the Quran, except for in several cases, something happened to make Allah say what he said. So the hadiths explain what happened. They give the who, what, where, when, why. So the Prophet Muhammad explained in a hadith what happened, okay, when Allah sent this verse down. And he explained to us that after Allah created Adam, alayhi salam, he ran his hand. And what's the source of this hadith? All of these hadiths can be found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. So they're all authentic. After he created Adam, alayhi salam, he ran his hand across Adam's back, and all of our souls appeared. My soul appeared, your soul appeared, all the souls of every human being that would ever live on this earth appeared. And Allah gathered all of our souls and took our souls to this mountain right here. And this is the mountain known as Arafat. And Allah asked us, am I your Lord? And all of us, me, you, our grandkids, all of us said, yes, Allah, you are our Lord. And Allah offered us a gift that he offered to the angels. The angels refused it. He also offered that gift to the animals. They refused it. He also offered that gift to the very mountain that our souls were standing on. And that mountain refused it. And the sun refused it. All the creation refused that gift except for us and the jinn. And that gift is free will, which is the ability to think. The angels, the mountains, the animals, and all the other creation refused it because they knew if they had taken it on, that meant that they would be held accountable for their actions on the day of judgment. That they knew that if they accepted free will, that they would end up in hell for any bad choices that they made in life. But we accepted it because we're arrogant. That's just how humans and jinns are. So that's why we're going to be held accountable on the day of judgment. And so are the jinn. But the mountains, the sun, the animals, the angels, none of them will be. Okay? So that's what happened on that mountain right there. And by the way, that's the same mountain that we're going to be gathered at when we die, when we're raised up on the day of judgment. When we come out of our graves, that's the same place where the angels are going to make us gather at before the judging too. So anyway, this is what's known as Al-Fitrah. This is the distinctive trait that Allah has gifted to each one of us. And it's significant because it represents our inherent need to pursue the truth and submit to Allah's will. Since we accepted the gift of free will, what comes with that is Al-Fitrah, that one trait that at that point in our life was in our soul. It was a part of our soul that gives us the need to want to know the truth and to submit to Allah's will. That was part of our soul. That was there before, let me make it clear, before the Fitrah, before the free will, before we took that free will, when Allah first created Adam and our souls appeared, the souls were just a soul with the Fitrah attached. The Fitrah was attached to the soul. It recognized Allah as Allah and willing to submit. That was until we took on free will. Let me get it straight. Did I get it straight, Mina? Because I'm had to ban somebody. Another program. Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure he's banned too. Yeah, he's banned. Okay. So this is before the free will. When we came up out of Adam's loins, the Fitrah was a part of the soul. It recognized the truth, and it was in submission to Allah's will. And this verse lets us know that. Okay? All right. Yeah, he's banned. He's banned, Sister Amatullah. And this hadith here explains that. Here's the hadith. According to Ibn Abbas, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah took the trust from Adam's loins at Arafat. There's the dalil for Arafat. Bringing forth from his spine every seed, and he dispersed them before him. And as they stood before him, he asked them, am I not your Lord? They responded, of course we are witnesses. Least you say, on the day of resurrection, we had no idea. So there's the hadith. Yeah, I see it. That explains that. So this hadith and the verse above emphasize how all human souls were created and made to witness the existence of Allah, also his oneness, how Allah is the creator and Allah is the sustainer, and Allah is supreme. Okay? This is before we accepted free will, because the Fitrah in the beginning of our creation was part of the human soul. So I hope everybody understands that. All right. And this event marks the beginning of the Fitra. And that's part of the nature that acknowledges Allah as one. And it serves as the foundation for the inner light. And it guides us towards the truth. And it causes us to submit to Allah's will. All right. Everybody got that? Everybody with me? Because this can get complicated. And that's what the prophet means in that hadith when he says no child is born but upon the natural instinct. Okay, so that's why I tell you guys, when you guys call yourselves reverts, you know, you're not really a revert. You know, you call guys are converts. You know, you're not a revert, you convert to Islam. Okay. Revert is the wrong term. You're a convert to this religion. You're not a revert, because the Fitra was a part of the soul. Once the soul is blown into the woman's body, the fetus, the Fitra detaches from the soul and goes into the heart, because the soul becomes criminal. When it comes into this world, the soul doesn't remain inclined towards the truth. When it enters this world, the souls are kept in a place in paradise with Allah. But once Allah has the angels blow the soul into a fetus, the Fitra detaches from the soul and goes into the fetus's heart. And the soul, as Allah says in the Quran, now is criminal. The heart is prone towards the truth because it holds the Fitra. But the soul is criminal and attracted to everything bad and dirty. So you're not reverting back to anything. Okay, revert is not the correct term for a new shahada to use. You are a convert to this religion. You are not a revert to anything. Okay, bad English. All right. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, no child is born but upon instinct. You have instinct. You have a natural instinct to want to go out and search for what your purpose is in life. You have a natural instinct to want to search for something better than yourself. You have a natural instinct to want to figure out, you know, what you were created to do. That's instinctual. Okay? That's what that hadith is speaking about. So Allah has imprinted this fitra inside everyone, which will lead them to want to recognize truth and morality. You will begin a journey. When you grow up, you will begin a journey in life trying to find and recognize what the truth is, what your purpose is, and all of that. Is that clear to everyone? So recognizing the fitra's fundamental character, it serves as a reminder of every individual's goodness and potential. It also emphasizes the importance of nurturing and sustaining this instinct throughout your existence. And by identifying with this instinct, we can strive to act following our natural inclinations. And we can in turn learn to recognize and uphold what is good and learn to resist what is evil. Because again, the human soul is attracted to everything that's bad and dirty. We're attracted to drugs. We're attracted to sex. We're attracted to alcohol. Okay? And the heart is attracted to what's good. Okay, we have a hadith here where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Verily, my Lord has commanded me to teach you what you do not know from what he has taught me this day. All wealth I bestow upon them is lawful. I have created all of my servants inclined to worship." So here Allah is saying that we have that instinct. It's a part of our instinct to want to worship him. We're inclined to want to do that. But how many of us will actually do that? That's another question. Some of us will end up worshiping something other than him. Look how many people worship the moon. Look how many people worship the sun. Look how many people worship cows, dogs, trees. It's part of the human instinct to want to worship something. But how many will actually worship Allah alone? Not that many. That's why, what's the dalil? The dalil is the fact that there'll be more people in hell than in paradise. Even though it's our instinct to worship something, most of us will worship other than Allah. Isn't that weird? That's the reality, guys. We're instinctually inclined to want to worship something. But very few of us will worship the right thing, which is Allah. Okay? So Allah sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to teach us to worship Allah and not a cow. Allah, not money. Allah, not sex. Allah, not the sun. Allah, not the moon. But unfortunately, most people won't follow what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to teach us. So every human being's fitra craves a connection with guidance. But this connection has to be nurtured. It has to be nurtured through the commitment of parents. It has to be nurtured. That's why the Prophet said the children will take on the religion of its parents. Because even though a child is born into this world with that instinct, to want to worship, it's the parents that make them either a Muslim or a Jew or a witch or atheist. So that's why I'm always on you sisters about your priorities in life. You women are so busy trying to be like Kafir women, to travel the world, which is haram. Okay? You want to be like the Kafir women. Your role is to be at home, nurturing your children, learning your religion, so you in turn can raise your children and teach them, feed their fitra, so you can connect them to Allah, subhanallah. Allah says in the Quran, light upon light. This connection to Allah's revelation, that's what guarantees the clarity and the sanctity of the fitra. It provides direction and guidance for navigating life's complexities. Yesterday, my Islam Q&A was requested by the teens. They wanted to know, how do we handle the complexities of the world today? How do we deal with social injustice? How do we deal with racism and all of that? Like I said, it's upon you parents to instill that light in the kids' heart. Let them know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if you parents put that confidence in your children, let them know we never know how we're going to go out of this world. but you want to go out with a good ending. You want to go out a martyr. You know, however you leave this world, if you're paid up in your prayers, you know, your good deeds, you live in each day of your life as if it were your last, practicing your religion. You got that connection with Allah. You're doing the things Allah commanded you to do. You're staying away from sex. You're staying away from drugs. You're staying away from all the things Allah said to do. If somebody tries to come and harm you, you go down fighting. You go down with martyrdom on your tongue and la ilaha illallah in your heart. You know, subhanallah, then that's a good ending for you. Your fitra will have found its way back to Allah with a good ending. So it's upon us parents, you know, to nurture that light. You know, that's how the companions did it. Because like I said, the prophet said the best mothers are the Qurayshi women. They didn't put nothing before motherhood. All right. We have to stick to the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those companions. So this is the